I'm Eric from CanCam CNC Machines, and this is going to be our training for our Z540. First, we're going to make sure our E-stick is twisted and power on. It's going to take a minute for our GSK controller to boot up. Once the machine is booted up, I always recommend turning your light on. It's going to just give you a better view inside your machine. Next, we're going to go over our different pages. We always default to being on our positions page, and we can change between relative, absolute, all, which is going to display all relative, absolute, and machine coordinates. We also have P monitor, which is going to do everything with our G code. If we go to monitor over here, we're going to get our values in for everything, as well as our load for each axis and spindle. Changing to our next page, we're going to go program. Open that up. This is going to be our program and MDI section. So if I hit program, it's going to read out where our program is. MDI is manual data input, so we're going to have to select MDI mode down on our controller down here in order to type. And we can type in commands such as tool commands, T1, M6 as an example. We'll then have to put input, and to run this, we'll hit cycle start. Next, we're going to go to our settings page. And our settings options, we got a few different ones here. We're mainly going to focus on work. This is going to be where our workplace coordinates and information is set. Next, we're going to hit measure. This is going to be using our probe, which is now in the spindle. We are going to hit measure again, and this is going to open up our measurement system so we can see work measurement. This is going to find our part. Next is tool measure. So we're going to fill in the correct data and input that to do it. We're going to then hit measure, start, and cycle start once we're ready for that. Next, we're going to go to system. This is where our tool offsets are going to be stored, all the values here. Once we're done here, we can go to alarm. This is going to make sure that we have a proper readout on whatever alarms may be occurring in the system. Currently, we have no alarms, and that's where we want to be. To control your machine, we're going to start with manual control. This is going to allow us to manually jog the machine around. To do so, we're going to use our X, Y, Z inputs. Press and hold it, and it's going to jog in whatever direction that you have. Next, we're going to have MPG control. This is going to allow you to jog as well. Light turns on your MPG. Off X, Y, Z for your axis selection and your step value here. So we'll go X, we'll go the largest step size, and as I rotate, our machine moves along as well. If I reduce my step value, it's going to move significantly slower. Next, we have our MDI and auto selection. In MDI mode, we can do manual programming to change your tools as well as operate your spindle. This is going to allow you to be able to do manual machining with the machine. Next, you can hit edit. Our G code is going to come up here, and this is where we can go through and edit the code itself to make sure that it's going to be operating in the positions and everything that we want. Next is auto. Once in auto, this is going to be the place where we're going to be actually running our code. To get your program onto your machine, you're going to first open your USB flap, install your USB. We're going to go to program, if we're not already, and into USB directory. We're going to see our file loaded here. In order to copy it, we're going to hit USB directory again. Copy to CNC, we're going to have to rename this. I'm going to select 1220 as an example. I'm going to hit input, input again, and it's going to load it over to our memory. Now that it's loaded to the hard drive of the CNC, we're going to go return. So we're going to select directory, we're going to see 01220. We're going to hit input, and this will load up our code. At this time we can hit edit and do any edits we need to in our code, or we can hit auto and cycle start will begin the program. So next we're going to have to calibrate the tool setter. This case we're using a standard. This is actually the back of an old end mill, and we're just installing it nice and deep and making sure that we get a good purchase on it. We're going to install this one into tool number 19. Again, the same way, we want to make sure that the dog lines up and installs correctly. Give it a twist to make sure that it's in there good. From here, we're going to go program, MDI. We want to do tool 19, M6, input, cycle start to go. We're going to open it up, measure to the spindle face here. In this case, almost exactly 5 inches long. We're going to select our MDI and we're going to lower our Z-axis down. And we want to end up roughly a 1/4 inch above our tool setter. Now that we're in our position above, we're going to go back to our settings. We want measure, tool measure, and we want to change our measure mode to number 4. 4, input. This is going to set up our piece. So now we have our length measurement here. This is going to be 5, as we saw earlier, and our Z depth measurement is going to be again minus 0.125 input. At this point, we want to switch back to auto mode. Start, measure ready, cycle start. Again, confirm your rapid is at 25%. Next, we're going to have to calibrate the diameter of our probe. To do this, we're going to go to measure mode 5. 5 input. We're going to input the tool diameter. This is of the tool we installed. In this case, it's 1/4 inch, 0.25 input. Our Z depth, we're going to have to do minus 0.35 input. This is just to make sure that it goes low enough to calibrate on the side. Our tool diameter trim here, this is the actual diameter of the calibrator. We're going to set it to 0.5 input. From here, we want to make sure we're in auto mode. Start, measure ready, confirm we're in 25%, cycle start. And now that is complete. Next, we have to calibrate our probe. For us, we've set it as tool number 1. So we're going to go to MDI and program, MDI. So T1M6 input, cycle start. We're going to have to do a tool measure on this to calibrate our probe. So we're going to again go to settings, measure, tool number 1 to match on measure mode 1. We're going to set our tool diameter. In this case, our probe is 0.157 input. Next, our length. So we're going to get our measurement tool out, measure face of spindle, probe, and that is 5.125. 5.125 input, and we should be ready to go. So again, we want to be in auto mode. Start, measure ready, 25% feed rapid, cycle start. We're going to need to change tool number 15. To do that, we're going to change the tool to tool number 11. That way it gets to the slot out position of our tool rack. So we're going to go to MDI, T11, M6, and input. Next we're going to hit cycle start and we're going to hit the tool change. Now that it's out, we can open our door. Once it's in position, grab hold of the collet nut and push straight to the rear to release your tool. So we're going to have to remove this tool from the BT30 tool holder. So you're going to use your BT30 tool clamp. Drop it on